And again, these are just my opinions, being the self-proclaimed #1 C5 Corvette expert this side of the solar system. What is going on, you guys, and welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to be answering a question that I've gotten quite a bit since I bought the C5 Corvette. And that is, why is your nose so big? You know, words hurt. No, we're actually going to be answering the second most common question that I get in regards to the actual car and not me. But first, we have to move 2 Corvettes out of the way so that I can get mine actually in the garage. In exhaust between my brother's Vette and my dad's Vette. This one has Corsa Sports. My brother has Billy Boat. I don't know if it's the Bullets or what one. It's quite loud. Which one do you think sounds better? I think this definitely is a much more refined tone. Ty's is a very deep and throaty tone. Clutch feels way different in the C6, jumping right from my car to this one. And now to the Corvette with no exhaust at all. Nothing, no mufflers, no cats. Here we go. It does sound good though, it is loud. I don't know if you can hear every piece of interior plastic vibrating. The only downside, and the fact that I can't hear anything now. I had this thing all nice and washed yesterday, and then it rained, and I wasn't able to film the video yesterday, so now the car's wet and a little bit dirty. So I think I'm gonna take the handy dandy blower we got over here and give her a quick blow job? That doesn't sound right. Give her a quick blowy. Give her a quick blow. I'm gonna stop now. Okay, so now the actual question that I get asked the most since I've bought the C5 is if I was starting from a blank slate, which I almost was. There was like a really cheap Ram Air intake on the car and a Borla catback on the car. That's it. When I bought a C5, I wanted it to be bone stock or as close to bone stock as I could get one, and just having those 2 extremely easy, simple bolt-on items. I was willing to take that for an otherwise perfect car. But I get all sorts of questions now after I've done quite a bit of mods to the Vette. If I was starting from a blank slate, what's the first mod and what are like the first 5 mods I would do to the C5? Now, a quick disclaimer for all those, race guys or drag racers or track day guys who are going to be like, well, with all the money you spent on that stuff, you could have bought 1/4 of a supercharger for your car and made it faster. These are not all performance mods. 1 or 2 items on the list do increase power a little bit, just a little bit. But these mods are for a greater overall C5 experience, to update the platform, to update a platform that's, old in some ways, but still decently modern in others. That's why I love this thing. But at the end of the video, I'll give you guys an extra mod. I don't know if I would call it a mod. An extra thing that you can do to your car that's actually free. That you can do to the C5 that's free. So stay tuned to the end. It really both improves the look and performance of the C5, and it costs you nothing. So stay tuned to the end of the video when I tell you guys what that is. And we're gonna start at the front of the Vette. I can't wait to get a lot of smack for this one, but I'm starting with headlights. Putting in bi-xenon or bi-LED headlights was, to me, probably the first best mod that you could do to the C5. The C5 stock headlights are about as bright as me, which is not very bright. And no, don't just take an LED bulb or an HID bulb and put it in the factory housing and say you're good to go. Because everyone you pass on the road will be looking like this. It just scatters light everywhere. Sure, it may seem bright, but there's a much better way to do it, and it's a much better driving experience when you have really bright headlights that are aimed in the proper places. So as you guys know, I have Sharp Light Innovations by LED headlights. They are absolutely amazing. I know they're a little costly, but they're worth every single penny. And I tell you guys they're that good because I've had LED bulbs in the factory housing. I've had HID bulbs in the factory housing. And then I also had the stock bulbs. None of them come close to the by LED headlights. Worth every penny. And they look really cool. They look cool when the headlights are up and the headlights aren't even on. They're really cool. Pop-up headlights are cool. Having by LED pop-ups are even cooler. And actually, I know I said by LED headlights were probably the first mod I would do. The rest of the mod, I don't really have an order going here. They are a good mod. If I was starting from a blank slate, I'm not sure if I would do them first or not. They were the first thing that I did to my car. But then again, I already had this next mod on it. And that next mod is a catback exhaust. So as I told you guys, my car came equipped with a Borla S-type catback when I bought it. And it sounded good. It sounded okay. The Corvettes, when they have factory manifolds and that factory H-pipe, they sound like boats. Or they chug almost. They make an odd sound. They don't sound bad, but they've got this unique tone to them that I wasn't personally a fan of. But the Borla S-Type is a very good catback system. It's what I had in the car. It's what came on the car, I should say, when I bought it. I then sold the Borla system for this SLP system. Yes, I know the tips are disgusting. They're dirty and they're uneven. But I wanted some more sound out of the Vette. And these surely did it. I got these used. I don't think SLP makes these anymore. If I find them, I'll include a link for them down below. I got mine used. They were relatively inexpensive. I don't remember how much I paid. These definitely opened the Vette up a bit and sounded a lot better. And I didn't use the silencers. They're like these little things that you put in. It's not a muffler, but it's like a piece of perforated tube that's supposed to quiet it down. I think I burned them or something. I threw them out. Regardless of what system you get, it sounds so much better than stock, and it adds a little bit of power. And also, depending what system you get, it'll dress up the rear end of the car. I can't say I'm a huge fan of the SLP tips. They're not, I don't know. I guess they don't look bad considering the taillights are ovals and then those are ovals. They are better, however, in my opinion, than the two tips that came with my Borla S-type system. But I think MagnaFlow makes the biggest exhaust tips that you can get with a catback system. I think they're like 4.25 inches, which I think is pretty. I think that's a decent size. I would say that's about average. So a catback system opens up the exhaust, makes the car sound much better. You can get a little bit of a performance upgrade from it. You know, you can get a few more horsepower, a few more torques, and then you can also change up. Oh my God, those tips are, wow, those are really crooked. But anyways, you'll also dress up the rear end of the Vette if you go with just, 2 exits or, 4 big 4.25 inch ones. And it's an easy install. It's like 4 bolts, I think, to put those on. No, actually 8. Because you have the flange. I should remember, but I don't remember. But relatively easy install. If I can do it, you can do it. And not terribly expensive, depending what kit you go with. So that one actually might be the first thing that I would do. I don't know, it's tough. That's why I'm not going to put an order on this. You guys can take my first 5 ideas and do whichever ones you think first. Next mod actually brings us in to the interior. Now, this next mod is one of my personal favorites. This has completely changed the driving experience of the C5 for me. I love music. I hated that I had to get one of those, like, Bluetooth radio transmitter things that half the time didn't work. I would cross state lines and it would just go on me, and then I could never get to work again. And then I would be angry and I wouldn't enjoy anything. No matter how good the car was, I would be angry because I didn't have my music. Even though I spent, no lie, a week attempting to install this myself, I think the next best mod for the C5 is a touchscreen radio. Get this radar detector, which is also a very good thing you should have in your C5. Get that out of the way. This is amazing. So this is the Pioneer, I want to say it's the MVH 1400 NEX. I'll include a link for whatever it is, whatever model it is, down in the description below, because I cannot recommend this thing enough. This thing's amazing in every possible way. It's not like one of those rubbery aftermarket touchscreen radios that you see people put in their cars that look like crap. This one looks like it could fit here from the factory, besides my little off adjustment that doesn't make it sit quite square. That was something that I did. That's not any problem with the center console trim bezel that I got, or the Pioneer product itself. This one has like a glass. It's like a glass screen. Oh man, I got all sorts of finger marks on it. But this one's more of like a glass screen. Like me, it's very reactive to touch. When you touch it, it does what it's supposed to do. That wasn't supposed to sound dirty, but it's a very, very good system. You have Apple CarPlay in here. I can have Waze up here with my radar detector going and feel like I'm secure from the police while I drive. I don't speed though. This thing really is just amazing. I can't say enough good things about it. I've had zero issues with it. It works every single time. It looks great. It's clear. It doesn't look cheap. And at the time that I bought it, I think the price has gone up a little bit since I bought it a year and a half ago or so, 2 years ago. I would have paid double or triple what I originally paid for it to have this thing. It does everything I could ask of it. It's clear, it's reactive, it's looks good. It checks all the boxes for me. I think you can use Android Auto with this as well. Worth every penny. Completely updated the interior. It looks like a completely different car with this thing in here. You don't have that old din and a half radio that came in Trailblazers and everything, and the Corvette. It looks classy. It looks good. It doesn't look too modern. It doesn't look like you just stuck some, new high-tech radio in an old car. It fits. And with all the interface stuff that I'll link down below, you can still use your Bose system, which I wanted to do. If you love music as much as I do and you like having navigation on a screen, not on your phone where there's literally zero place to put your phone in here, no mount works good in the C5, so having the screen with my phone is so much better than having the old radio and then my phone just off somewhere like on a mount here. That would look dumb. I love you. And while we're in here, we'll turn on the next mod. There we go. Pop out of here. You quiet. And the next mod is these bad Larrys. So these are the Sharplight Innovations, again, Sharplight Innovations, LED halo taillights. I'm actually not sure if that's what they're called. I think that's what they're called. The Sharplight LED halo taillights, amazing. These were actually the first thing that I put on the car myself when I bought it. When I knew I was getting a C5, I saw these and I was hooked. I was in love with them. They look amazing. They look so good. Would you look at it?
Would you look at that?
Yeah, well.
Would you look at that?
They are the coolest taillights ever. The great thing is, they're not very expensive. They're not terribly expensive. Extremely easy to install. It's literally 2 bolts per taillight. You unplug a harness, you plug a new one in, and you're good to go. I didn't have any hyperflash issue. I put in a hyperflash harness that George from Sharplight Innovation sent me anyways because it was easy to put in. I didn't have to put it in though. And just look at them. They look amazing. They completely update the exterior of the C5, the rear end of the C5 anyways. And this is what they look like when you're driving. Like, the halo ring is the only thing you can see, or people can see when they're behind you. And then when you hit the brakes, of course, the rest of it, fills in. And I guess you could call them a safety thing because they're so much brighter than the factory C5 taillights. People can see you stopping better. They're very, very bright when you actually hit the brakes and the rest of the taillight circle fills in. I gotta show you guys. Okay, ready? Wait till you see how bright these are. See what I mean? Next on the list, the thing that I probably get the most compliments on the C5. I forgot to clean them. I know this isn't the proper way to do this, okay? I meant to do this earlier with proper things, and then I did something because I have ADHD, and now this is how we're cleaning them, okay? Now that I finally cleaned only the front wheels, because they're the only ones for some reason that get dirty, but now my surprise is kind of ruined. So the last thing and the most complimented thing that I receive on the car, besides it being extremely low, is the wheels. And the best part is, these aren't some fancy 3-piece wheels that cost a lot of money because I am poor. These are simply C6 Corvette wheels. Base C6 Corvette. They came in polished, and they came in these, like, I don't know what you'd call them. They got a weird name. It's like flat aluminum or something. Clear-coated aluminum. Not exactly sure. I just sound like an idiot. But anyways, again, these were one of the mods that when I was getting a C5, I knew I wanted to do. I'm not a big wheel guy. I can't pick, I can't go on websites and scroll for hours and hours and look at different wheel options and stuff because there's too many. But for some reason, on the Vette, especially the C5, this spoke design of the C6 wheels looks amazing. C5s from the factory come with 17s and 18s. They're staggered. The C6 wheels are 18, 19. So it's a nice little upgrade. But we'll go around to the other side where the wheel is a little bit cleaner. This was the wheel that looked so clean. Yes, now that we're back here, one problem with running these wheels. You might have seen in the back there. Yes, big ol' spacer. So that is one problem. They bolt right up to the same bolt pattern. The fitment in the front is really, really good. I don't have to run a spacer or anything. The wheels fit fine over the factory C5 brakes. The rear, you can run without a spacer. Just looks really dumb. Yeah, looks pretty dumb. The wheel sits very in if you don't run a spacer. Very, very in. Again, not a wheel guy. I think that would be offset, negative offset. I'm gonna stop before I sound dumb. Like my father always said, it's better to keep your mouth shut and let people think you're stupid than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. But anyways, yeah, you have to run a decent sized spacer with these. I think I said it in another video. I think it's about an inch spacer that I'm running. But look at the fitment you get with that spacer. It sits perfectly in the wheel well. If you're really low like me, it's extremely close. And if this tire moves up, which I believe it has at some point, I heard something, it will hit your fender. Am I worried about running a spacer? Not at all. My uncle actually gave me these spacers to test fit, and they were actually the ones that I needed, so he just let me have them. They're hub-centric. I think those are the ones that are good. Basically with these ones, I don't know if hub-centric is what I'm talking about, but they bolt to the factory lug nuts, and then it gives you another 5 lug nuts to bolt onto. So these spacers are bolted to the hub with 5 bolts, torqued to a large amount. And I've taken the car up to 155 miles an hour without issue, and I've drifted around and done donuts and burnouts and stuff, and I've had no problems. I am gonna knock on wood though, just to make sure. As of now, I haven't had problems. And another great thing about the wheels, as you guys know, as I've said in a lot of videos, I like updating the car. I've had people think that this was a C6 just because of the wheels. Like when you throw the C6 wheels on the C5 from certain angles, it looks really, really similar to the C6. I know some of you guys are going to give me crap like, ooh, what's wrong with the look of the C5 as it is? It just, I don't know. I think it looks cool. That's all I'm going to say. I think it looks cool. It looks updated with a little bit bigger wheels. You know, just looks a little newer. I don't know. I think that's cool. And last but not least, the free mod that I was telling you guys about, I guess they would call it a mod, but the free thing that you can do to the C5, whether it's bone stock, whether it's modded, as long as it's not already lowered, is lower the car on the factory bolts. C5 Corvettes from the factory have adjustable suspension. They have lowering bolts that you can go underneath, and you're supposed to easily adjust. Mine were such a nightmare because I tried everything here. I spent an entire day. I'll post a link to the video somewhere here. I spent an entire day fighting with those bolts until I finally had to have my friend Tyler from Northeast Auto Imports help me out with some heavy duty heat. But anyways, whether you have a modded Corvette or a bone stock Corvette, lowering it on the factory lowering bolts is free unless you have to bring it somewhere like I did when you can't do it yourself. And it looks really good because you're lowering it. I can't remember how much exactly it lowers it. I'll put the details on the screen. And now that the car is a little bit lower, your center of gravity is a little bit lower, and maybe it improves the handling a little bit even. So not only does it look cool, but it's a performance upgrade as well. All right, so again, I will include links to all of my C5, a playlist of all my C5 stuff, my C5 videos down in the description below, as well as the 2 videos where I went over the rest of the mods that I have on the C5 other than the long tube headers and the X-pipe, but where I walk through every single mod that I have on the car as you see it now. And then I have another video going over the costs associated with all of those mods and how much I basically have into my C5 to make it the way it is now. Which way it is now, I do love. I love it a lot. It's great. It's great. And again, these are just my opinions, being the self-proclaimed #1 C5 Corvette expert this side of the solar system. Some of you guys may get a bone stock C5 and say, I'm going to put every cent I have into twin turboing it to make it the fastest thing in the world. I don't care how it looks. I'm not that way. I would rather a decently fast car. These are decently fast from the factory. I'd rather a better all-around car that I can actually see the road when I drive and people can see me and I can listen to my music than just having this stupid fast Vet. Again, that's just my opinion. It's your car. Do what you wish. These are the first mods that I would do to my car if I got it as a blank slate. And they basically are the mods that I did to my car in order when I got it. I'll also link all of the products and mods that I mentioned in today's video down in the description below for you guys to check out. And comment down below what mods you think I should have done first, or what mods I shouldn't have done that I already did. And you can help support the C5 build by checking out my merch website, DriveHubShop.com, also linked down below. All of the proceeds go towards a very a foundation that's very close to my heart, and it's called More Parts for My Corvette. But I will see you guys in the next one. Happy motoring. Oh, but before you go, you got to hear this thing cold start in the garage. It's nasty.